Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Okay.
Is this one on? Yeah, this one's on
All
also.
right. First of all, that was Jill's first personal story ever. Let's give it up to Jill. Tonight, Cindy and I are going to share what we call Speaking of Sports. It's about our 45 years of marriage, or excuse me, 47 years of marriage, as well as a whole lifetime of adventures, mishaps, and one or two small victories along the way.
Now, my very first experience with sports, believe it or not, was boxing. I was 5 or 6 years old. My dad would watch boxing on television, and he'd ask me to sit on the couch with him to watch boxing. And I hated it. It scared me. It was violent. It was ugly. But that was the first sport I was ever aware of, boxing.
You observed it. I was a Golden Glove boxer. It was about the 5th grade, and I learned all the moves. I learned the uppercuts. I learned everything. I learned how to fend off the blows. Thought I was pretty good. Then came the match. This would end it all. This would be our final experience as a Golden Glove boxer. And my buddy Jeff was my opponent. I knew Jeff, and I pounded him. I really pounded him. I knew I won. Jeff's grandfather was the referee.
Why can we not picture an 11-year-old Chucky Fink boxing?
It was my last moment to try to be another Muhammad Ali. But I also observed some sports along the way. Let's see. My father took me a few times when he was bowling. Now, my father had kind of fat hands, and the ball, I guess, had little holes. This one time, he throws the ball down the alley, and he goes with it. It was a perfect 4-10 split. And I had another experience observing as well as a child. We were not wealthy at all, but occasionally my dad would scrape up enough money so we could go to Crosley Field, home of the Cincinnati Reds. We always sat behind a girder that was holding up the grandstands, so we never saw a game. But at least I got to be a Reds fan, and that started it.
Now, I have an absolutely incredible story with the Cincinnati Reds. It was 1979. I just moved to Cincinnati, and I got a phone call from a friend who was a photographer for Sports Illustrated. He asked me if I wanted to go to a Reds game. It was a playoff game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sure. So he gives me a camera, and he gives me a press pass, and we get to sit right on the field in the press box, and I'm about...
Press box? You mean dugout?
Yes, that's right. It was the dugout. We're sitting in the dugout. Now, there's all professional photographers. I'm pretending to be a photographer. So they would take a picture of the action. I didn't know what action I'm supposed to be taking a picture of, so my flash camera would go off like 2 or 3 seconds later. But the amazing thing was listening to the cussing, the absolute cussing of Willie Stargell from the Pittsburgh Pirates. I had heard these cuss words before, but never had I heard the creative combination of cuss words. And that was my experience with the Cincinnati Reds.
Speaking of cuss words, I let go a few thousand of them because Cindy was there. I thought we were going to be really close and who knew about the future, but she's there with an old boyfriend from college. But I had tickets to that game well before this happened, and my tickets were in the red seats of Riverfront Stadium. Those old bowl seats, you could not get further away from the game than to sit in the last row of red seats in right field.
I was in the dugout.
You mean the press box? So I'm there with my binoculars to watch the game. That was my intention. They were focused entirely on that guy and Cindy. Right after the game, about a week and a half later, I got down on one knee, and I didn't ask Cindy to marry me. I begged her to marry me.
And I'm glad he did. Now, I actually played on a baseball, well, no, not a baseball team, a softball team It was in graduate school, and it was called Ricky's Raiders because one of our professors was Dr. Ricky. And we got these really cool, bright yellow shirts. We could pick our own number. So I picked number 1. And I loved wearing that shirt. And I remember we'd all go drinking after games. But I really don't remember playing softball. I guess we did. I just don't remember the softball part of it. Remember the shirt, I remember the drinking.
At least you got the most important part right. After the game, you went drinking. Yeah. Well, I had experiences in knot-hole baseball, and that's what we called Little League at Cincinnati, knot-hole baseball. And I was in the Garson Shoes. That was our sponsor. And I played left field, and I was playing left field, and my buddy Tommy Dreskin, was playing center field. The opponent hit a ball between Tommy and me. We both crisscrossed running to catch the ball. Neither of us could find it. And then finally Tommy said, "Look in your glove." There was the ball. I caught it. My parents came after the game. They missed the most exciting experience of my youth. I'm sorry, I'm nearly crying. What did I forget?
College, yeah.
Oh, yes. And then I played a little college. Well, it was kind of baseball, but it was intramural teams. It was 1969 in Washington, D.C. at the George Washington University.
Ooh, you got a GW.
All right, GW, yeah. All right. You're the one. So the team, remember, this is the late 60s. We called ourselves the Heads Up. It wasn't about paying attention, man. We were the Heads Up. We would be out in the outfield just laying around, and we lost every game. But one loss was the most important of all. We played the med school, and they soundly trounced us. But we all gathered around them, and together we shouted, "Socialized medicine! Socialized medicine!" Yeah! Well, we won that.
Now, I had a near disaster with college sports. I went to a college, Bridgewater State College, better known as Bridgewater State, just a little bit south of Boston. And the school had some requirement that you had to pass swimming before you could graduate. So I took the swimming class, flunked it. Took the swimming class a second time, flunked it. It's my senior year. I'm getting ready to graduate. Surely they're not going to keep me from getting a college degree because I can't swim. Well, they created a special class called pre-beginners. That was his name. And it was me and like a 60-year-old woman. And all we had to do was swim down the length of the pool and back, but we could stay on the side. So I would swim down, get nervous and grab the side, swim a little more, get nervous and grab the side, but I went up and down the pool, and I got my degree.
Wasn't there another experience you had in college that involved water?
Yes. I grew up in a beautiful beach town called Westport, Massachusetts, 20 miles of coastline. And one day I'm at a beach, beautiful beach called Elephant Rock. And it was called Elephant Rock because offshore is this big rock that looks like an elephant. So I'm at the beach by myself, and at low tide, I walk out to Elephant Rock, I climb on, and I lay down to sunbathe. Well, I fell asleep. And I must have slept for some time because I woke up, it was high tide. I couldn't get off. I couldn't get back because I didn't know how to swim. I couldn't get back. So I'm on the rock, Elephant Rock, yelling to shore, "Help, help, I can't get back." And some older guy swims out, drags me back, and saves my life.
Well, I had an experience also with water. However, my experience did not involve holding onto the side of a pool like this one. We were in the Cayman Islands, and we had scuba, and I saw how beautiful it was. I wanted to go down lower. So I took a resort diving course to go on a resort dive. If you don't know what a resort diving course is, it's real simple. They put the weights on your ankles, they toss you in the deep end, they give you a snorkel mask and a snorkel, and if you can breathe and make it, you pass. Then also you have to take off your weights and go to the surface. But they warned me, they warned everybody, whatever you do not panic and do not take out your regulator. Made perfect sense. So we go on this dive boat and we're in the Caymans and I jump in. The first few feet were incredible. Colors of fish, coral, like you've never seen before. But then we got down to about 10, 11 feet. The world started spinning around. I couldn't tell left from right, up from down. So I did exactly what I wasn't supposed to do. Ripped out the regulator and the bubbles came to the surface.
I'm on the back of the boat. I'm not going diving. You know, I can't swim. So I'm in the back of the boat drinking rum drinks. And I had watched where Chuck had jumped in, and I see all this commotion and all this waves and all these bubbles. So I yelled to the guys, help, help, go. I think my husband's in trouble. Save him.
Then the captain of the boat dives in without any equipment or anything. He dives in, he goes down to my ankles, he takes off the weights, and slowly I rise to the top. Only to find out later I have vertigo.
Now, I had never been much of an athlete. I was always the last kid picked. There's actually a book I've read called The Last Kid Picked. And as a young kid, we'd play dodgeball in the street. And so they'd be picking teams, and I'd be the last one there. And they'd say, all right, come on, Cindy, you're on our team. And then in my beautiful beach town as a teenager, we'd go to the beach, a bunch of us, and there'd always be this pickup beach volleyball game. I'm thinking, why can't we just lay here and swim and enjoy the beach, wade in, enjoy the beach? But the same thing, picking teams, I'm the last one picked. Awful. But in college, I desperately wanted to be, high school, I desperately wanted to be a cheerleader. And it was a small high school. I graduated with a class of 84. I tried out for cheerleading freshman year, not last kid picked, first one cut. Sophomore year, I try out again, first girl cut. Junior year, I try again, first one cut. Senior year, my gym teacher, Miss Chase, takes me aside and says, Cindy, do not try out for cheerleading this year. It's not going to happen. You're editor of the school newspaper, you're editor of the yearbook, your drama club, whatever. Don't try out. I tried out. No surprise. First one cut.
Nevertheless, she persisted.
Now, back to high school. I did play a varsity sport in high school. I'm sure it was because it was a very small high school and there weren't, 40 girls, not all of them trying out. But I played varsity field hockey, and I loved it. They gave me this cute little skirted uniform, which I loved wearing, and we practiced by running down the field with our hockey stick, bouncing the big heavy ball off the stick. And I was on the offense. I was left wing, but I don't ever remember scoring a goal.
I was going to say, nevertheless, she persisted again, but nevertheless, she persisted. Well, one sport that I was really good at was racquetball. Excuse me. One sport I was really good at was racquetball. And I wanted to show our sons that they could play the game too. But I also wanted to show them wisdom over youth. Drew, our elder son, was about 16 at the time, and Greg was maybe 12. And we went to play racquetball, Canadian doubles, Dad against his two sons. And I whooped them. But along the way, I crashed into a wall, and I felt some pain here. So after the game, we went straight to the emergency room, where I found out I had a broken rib. But I won! Yay!
Let's talk about spectator. I know we talked about being a spectator with sports. Football. My high school never had a football team. My college never had a football team. I'd never watched a game of football. I knew nothing about football. And then I meet Chuck, who was an avid Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Hooray!
So I have this girlfriend sit me down one day teaching me about football. We're watching football on TV, and she's teaching me about the game, and I'm trying to learn it so I can be a good football fan with Chuck. So he and I get together and we're watching our first game on TV. And I know the game, so I'm paying attention and I'm watching. I'm getting all excited and I'm cheering and I yell, "Pump up the offense, the defense better score."
This was not easy. However, Cindy is such a good wife that one year for Father's Day, she bought me season tickets to the Bengals game. What a wonderful woman.
Yeah, that 1 year of seasons tickets to the Bengals lasted a decade. 10 years we had seasons tickets to Cincinnati Bengals, and I went to the games. Then I knew that it was the defense that blocks and the offense scores.
Not blocks, tackles.
Tackles, whatever.
Yeah, so that game, something special happened, I believe.
Well, yeah, it was probably the last year of the 10 years. It was a playoff game. Is that what they call it?
That's what they call it, a playoff game.
And it was, I think, Cincinnati Bengals and Buffalo Bills. And I am really, really pregnant. It's January of '89. I am really pregnant. And as women will know, you go to ladies' room at public events like that, there's a long line while the women let me go first because they see how pregnant I am. And I sat through the game as uncomfortable as I was, got home, and a couple of hours later went into labor and delivered our second son, Greg.
And Greg now lives in LA, and he still watches games. And if the Bengals are playing, you'll see Greg decked out in his Bengals uniform because who they say going to beat them Bengals? Nobody.
Yeah, I remember that cheer. Then there's golf.
Right.
1 year for Mother's Day, Chuck buys me a set of golf clubs. Now, I had never expressed interest in golf. I never cared about golf, but he bought me golf clubs. I'm like, "Oh, golf clubs. Thank you, dear." So I take lessons so I can learn to play golf. And I played with women friends. Chuck and I played. We played with our sons. I never really enjoyed it that much. I played for many years. I never really enjoyed it that much. But I got a hole-in-one. I got a hole-in-one. Did you ever get a hole-in-one?
No, but if anybody wants to buy a set of women's clubs, let me know. We still have a chance and use them in decades.
We do.
I didn't get a hole-in-one. However, I think I got a cup holder in one. We were playing at the Grove Park Inn before you needed a bank loan to play at the Grove Park Inn. And I hit a shot. It was a pretty good drive for me. I get ready to hit my second shot. I line it up. I hit it. And I'm looking ahead at the green. Where's the ball? I turn to the right. My buddy's at a 45-degree angle in a golf cart. The ball takes 2 hops and goes in for a cup holder and one. You guys don't appreciate that like the hole-in-one, huh? Well, there's one other golf adventure that I had. Cindy and I, before the kids were born, would go down to Lexington, Kentucky. It's about 100 miles from Cincy. And we would stay at a place that had a golf course on property and a pool. Cindy would be with a reflector catching the rays by the pool, and I would go out to play a quick 9. And by the way, I've been playing golf since I've been 12 years old. I'm as bad now as I was then. So I hit a drive, and for me, again, a pretty good drive. And I look ahead and I see a raised green. And as the green is raised, below it, I see this patch of green. And I hit my next shot. It's heading right for the green. I'm so excited. It falls short, hits the side of that hill, and rolls down. I take my golf cart and I put it at the edge of that little hill so I could go down and find my ball. I looked very carefully. There it is. There it is. That green patch was a pond. It wasn't just stuff. So I needed to get my ball retriever. I go back to the cart, and the cart is coming down the hill on its own. I thought I hit the brake, but I guess I didn't. So the cart's coming down the hill. Now, I've watched every James Bond movie that was ever made. What would Sean Connery do? Simple. You jump in the cart, which I did, and you slam on the brake. I missed and hit the gas. The cart, me and my clubs, all went for a swim that day.
Now, Chuck and I took up skiing in our mid to late 40s because our sons wanted to ski. And surprisingly, there was a pretty nice ski resort an hour away in Indiana. So I took ski lessons so I could learn to ski. And I did enjoy skiing. I would ski the intermediate slopes and I could really go fast. I didn't hurt myself. I was enjoying it very, very much. I enjoyed skiing.
I don't need no stinking lessons. So I would do my own thing, and I could ski okay. My problem was stopping. So I'm going down this hill, and the lodge is in front of me, and I'm telling everybody as I'm skiing down, get out of the way, get out of the way, I can't stop, I can't stop. Well, I did stop against the wall of the lodge.
No cracked ribs this time.
No cracked ribs.
Then there was the time I'm skiing on the intermediate slope and our sons come rushing up to me on their skis, go, Mom, hurry, we have to help Dad, he's in trouble. So we go down to the bunny slope. The bunny slope is pretty much flat. There is Chuck on the bunny slope, bleeding in the snow.
Now, folks, I told you I cannot stop, right? I tried to stop, and the things came back and hit me in the head. Don't squirmish a little bit. If you're a klutz like me and you're skiing, you need a trail of blood so people can find you. It's perfectly logical. Well, we've shared a lot of our stories and our adventures together.
And
but
mishaps.
Mishaps? I never make mistakes. What do you mean? Okay. There's one final story that I think sums it up for everybody, and especially for us. Our first vacation ever was after we were married, was to Sanibel Island, Florida. Sanibel Island had a bike trail around it that was beautiful. So we rented bikes. I'm in the lead. Okay, it wasn't because of being a man and I got to be in the lead. I was just in the lead. And I'm going along and all of a sudden, and I fall off the bike. Cindy hit me. I turn around, I say to her, What are you doing?
And I very sheepishly say, I was just trying to bicycle close to you because I love you.
And we still do. Thank you, everybody. Before we're finished, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight, everybody for listening to our stories. And you're very special to us. Now, if I can, Jill Totman, Cindy Berryman Fink, Janelle Woodland, Donna Catton Johnson,